Well, this is one of our community meetings. We haven't had one in a few months. We just wanted to give people kind of an update of where we're at, what's going on with our shelter building, the prospects going forth. But we also wanted to give some folks who head up some of the agencies here in town a chance to talk to everybody and say what they do, what resources do they provide, what kind of help they provide for the homeless and the low income here in our town. And I think we had a pretty good group. We missed some other folks, but they had some problems they were dealing with, and we appreciate them so much. And we're glad that people were able to come out and talk to us and tell us what resources we have.
All right, I just want to welcome everybody here. This is kind of just a little bit of an update meeting of what's going on, and we're going to let a few agencies speak for just a moment about what they do. But first thing we want to do is we want to open with prayer, and nobody better than Miss Joe Morrison here to open us with prayer.
God of grace and God of glory, thank you for the people here today who come because they have concern for our homeless neighbors. Thank you for the agencies that are already providing services, and for those who will be coming to share with us today what they are doing. So thank you for being with us, and as we move forward, I remember the words of the hymn writer, God of grace and God of glory, and part of it says, save us from weak resignation to the evils we deplore. And so I think about that as we move forward in our ministry and seek to find answers to where we would fit into the whole picture. So give us courage and save us from weak resignation. So thank you again for all who are here and all that are in our homeless community this day. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Joe. I just want to say just a minute what's kind of a little bit of updates. We are looking at buildings, and we are really have one we really love, and we're dealing with all the things that have to deal with, and we meet Friday with some folks that might really go above and beyond on that. But that's where we are in the building. We just want to make sure we sustain it, that it's sustainable, and we can keep this thing going for a long period of time. I'd like to say until there are no more homeless, but I don't know if that'll ever be. But next thing we want to do is Betsy's going to intro some of the agencies, and they're going to give us a few words about what they do for the homeless here at Kingsport.
Ricky Kiser is here today from Family Promise, and he is going to tell us about what they do. They've been around quite a while, and it's an amazing program for those of you who have taken part with them.
As she said, my name is Ricky Kiser. I'm the case manager at Family Promise. I work with all the families at our self-sufficiency program. Our objective is to stabilize homeless families in the Kingsport area. And I want to read our mission statement to you. It says to provide temporary shelter and nurture for homeless families with minor children in Northeast Tennessee and Southwest Virginia. So Family Promise actually caters to families with minor children. It can be single parent homes, it can be dual parent homes. And we don't just shelter them, we also do self-sufficiency. I work with all of our guests to help them obtain job skills, to help them do resumes. Our whole objective is to get them from being homeless to being in a home in 90 days. We can do things like get them birth certificates. We also provide every guest that comes in, we give them a brand new comforter, pillow, pillowcase, towels, washcloths to every single family member. They get to keep those whenever they leave. So we provide that to all of them. We also assist them in getting work clothes, because a lot of them that come in, of course, don't have the appropriate attire to go for job interviews, so we provide that to them as well. And we also provide transportation. If they need to go for a job interview, they need to go to the Social Security office, they need to go for medical appointments, wherever they need to go, we provide them transportation. Now, some of the guests do have their own vehicles. We encourage them to leave their vehicle parked to save money for housing, and we will take them wherever they need to go. So during the day, we work with them on self-sufficiency, and then at night, they go to a local church. The local church will feed them meals. We provide them beds. Each family has a section that is sort of blocked off from everybody else so they can have privacy. And if any of your churches are interested in that, we're looking for more families right now. We currently work with 30 churches, but we can always use more. So if you're interested in that, just let us know. And we also help them with life skills. You know, a lot of them that come in, they don't know about, you know, how to properly care for the children. You know, it's sort of like a cycle. They're stuck in that cycle of where they're raising their children the way their parents did. So we try to help them to learn how to properly care for these children. We try to teach them basic housekeeping skills, cleaning skills, grocery shopping, budgeting, whatever they need to do to be self-sufficient. We actually try to do that for them. We also work with them on education. For example, we have one of our house guests right now. When he came into our program 90 days ago, he did not know how to read. He is now reading Dr. Seuss books, but you know, that's a start. You know, so and we'll continue working with them on that. Even after they leave our program, our services are still available to them. They can call us anytime they want. We will help them, you know, with job skills. You know, our services never end for them. So that's one thing we're very proud of that. But we also advocate for our guests with other agencies. You know, a lot of times other agencies will brush them off because they are homeless. And we will go in and we will advocate for them, and we do whatever we can to make sure that they're taken care of. But that's our whole goal. Our director, Monica Williams, is a Master of Social Work. She has a Master's of Social Work. I'm actually about to get my Master's in about a year. And I actually got my job because I was her intern. But Monica and I work great together. Some of the other things that we do, we try to provide after-school care for some of the kids. We don't do it ourselves, but like we'll pay the fees for the Boys and Girls Club, the YMCA, wherever they need to go. We will make sure that the parents are able to work. We will take the parents to pick up their kids and take care of medical things. If they need insurance, we advocate for them to get their insurance. And I think that's about it.
Do you keep clothes at your center? For example, do you accept donations of things like that, appropriate clothing, or how do you do that?
We do accept donations. We don't have a lot of room, so a lot of times, like if you bring them to us, we will use what we can immediately, and then we'll donate them to a local church to use. There's sometimes we'll actually go out and buy them brand new clothes. Just depending on what their need is. If there's no clothes that we have available to us, we'll actually go buy them.
Do the children, do you all used to try to keep them in the schools they were in? Is that still the practice?
We try to, as long as we're in the city of Kingsport schools. If we're in the city of Kingsport schools, then we will try to keep them in their school. But if they're outside in the county, I think due to regulations, the county won't let us keep them there. But we do try to keep them in the city schools.
In case a family is needing your services, what kind of turnaround time are they looking at before they can actually be qualified to stay? We hear that a lot.
Yeah, right now we literally have a waiting list. Our waiting list is turning on pretty quickly. If we don't have anybody on the waiting list, we can get somebody in the shelter within about 3 or 4 days. We are a low barrier. The only thing we do a background check just for the safety of the other guests. We'll make sure we don't have somebody that's going to be dangerous to the children or something like that. So we do that for protection. One other program we do offer, I forgot to mention, was our rapid rehousing. Anybody that is street homeless can come in, and there's no barriers on this. They come in, we'll pay the deposit in the first month's rent, and we can pay up to 3 months' rent for them if the services are needed, but usually it's just 1 month.
Let's have Salvation Army come and speak with us.
Thank you for having us today. I'm Major Jayne May. This is John White. He's our Social Services Director, and my husband is here with us as well. My husband and I are the co-administrators and pastors for the Salvation Army here in Kingsport, and we cover Western Sullivan County, Hawkins County, and Scott County, Virginia. That's our service area. The Salvation Army has been providing services to Kingsport and the surrounding communities since 1930. So we've been here, and I've noticed in looking at our history, we've always been downtown. In fact, I think we started out next door to Shades of Grace. So it's kind of a neat thing that that's always been kind of a hub for the folks that we're already ministering to together. The Salvation Army of Greater Kingsport provides food, emergency shelter, spiritual and family counseling, support services, and case management to those who find themselves homeless. We focus on returning families and individuals to self-sufficiency and becoming productive members of society. That is our goal. That's our heart, that's our mission, and it has been since 1865. Our shelter. Our emergency shelter has a men's dorm with 15 beds, a women's dorm with 10 beds, and 2 efficiency apartments for families. And we had a couple of weeks after Christmas or around there where we had 8 people in each of those dorms. So we had 16 people in our family dorm. It is emergent in style. In fact, and our hope is that they can come and stay with us. Oh my gosh, I'm homeless tonight. They can stay with us while they're working to get into Family Promise or another area shelter that has a program that will lead them on to greatness. We want to be partners. We're not trying to fight for the same dollar. We're just all trying to work together. Check-in time for residents is 4 o'clock. Dinner is served at 4:30 to those who are currently registered. Check-in times for a new resident will be 5 o'clock, between 5 and 9. After 9 o'clock, they'll need a police escort to get in. And of course, we're always wanting to work with our police officers. To check in, an ID is necessary or verification from the police. And as we have children on our property, just like Family Promise, those who are sex offenders on the sex offender list are not able to stay with us. We don't just have children on our building, in the evenings. We have activities for children during the day. So that is unfortunately somewhere we cannot have sex offenders. There's also no charge to stay in our facility. If somebody comes to you and says, I can't come to the Salvation Army because I don't have $5, I don't have $7, sadly, they're just trying to get $5 or $7. But just so you know, and as you point people in that direction, there is no charge to stay with us. There is no charge for any of our services. They are provided because we have generous donors, and we want to be good stewards of those gifts that have been given to us. Upon check-in, guests are asked to do their laundry and shower before lights out at 11 o'clock. Hygiene items and laundry detergent are provided, also free of charge. Guests are assigned to do chores to complete before they leave in the morning at 7:45. We live in community. Everybody has to be able to clean up after themselves, and the chores are not, we don't make you get down and use your toothbrush to clean the toilet or anything like that. Just to help it to be clean, because we've got 25 plus people living there, and we just want to help them with that. Breakfast is served to our guests at 7:30, and then our shelter does close at 8 o'clock when they are asked to be off the property. They can come back at noon for lunch, of course, so there's that. School-age children staying at our shelter, because of the work that Family Promise has done with the Kingsport City Schools, their work has been extended. So if we have children on our property that are school-age, they can remain in their school where they're going, and that liaison makes sure that the school bus comes, picks them up from our facility, gets them to school where they also have a hot breakfast and lunch that day, and gets them back to our facility. They provide school supplies and things like that. Michelle Widener works very well with our families to try to provide mental stability for the kids and things like that, and to make sure that children are successful and feel at home while they're with us. Because of the work you've done, Family Promise, we can all enjoy that great relationship with Kingsport City Schools, and we're very proud of that. Residents must be able to care for themselves, bathe themselves, feed themselves. We do have an elevator, so folks who might be on a walker or use a wheelchair are able to get up and down to stay in the dorm, but they must be able to take care of themselves. We have a very limited staff, and they're not trained in those areas, and we would hate for anyone to be hurt while they're staying with us. After their first 7 days in our shelter, residents will have weekly meetings with John. And during that time, he will discuss with them their goals. What are what brought you to us? How can we help you along the way? And he is able to network with, he knows everybody you all know him more than you know me, because he does work with everybody in town. Whether they need a job, he might help them with some job training, point them in that direction, point them in the direction of where housing can be found, help them, we work with Shades of Grace and send folks over there to help with the IDs and things like that. Again, we want to be a partner agency, not a takeover agency. So that's what we like to do with that. So we try to find ways. John is very resourceful in helping our individuals and our families get going. As clients are actively seeking a more permanent shelter and or a job, they may receive extensions to stay. So they get the first 7 days for free, and then after that they have weekly meetings with John, and as long as they are progressing, they are able to stay. So we just don't kick them out after 7 days or anything like that. Once they do exit, they can wait 90 days before coming back in. Sometimes they're asked to leave because maybe they aren't getting along with folks, they aren't doing their chores. We have a 3-strike kind of system. And after we ask you to leave, you can come back in 90 days and try again, unless you've done something destructive to our property or violent with another client or with our staff, and then we may ask you not to come back for a while, a length of time, and well, that's dependent upon how severe your infraction was. So when someone comes to you and says they're banned at the Salvation Army, they've done something pretty bad, and I'm talking defecating in the room, urinating on somebody's things, punching somebody, hitting something, being belligerent to the staff. And then some people just want to say they're banned because they really just want to be outside. That's just kind of how they are. I don't understand it, I just report it. When the weather is cold, a wind chill factor of 35 degrees or below, we operate under white flag, which means maybe you left last week and your 90 days aren't up, but if it's under 35 degrees, you're welcome to come in and we're going to find a place for you to stay out of the weather and be safe. Lunch is served to the public from noon to 1 every day. You all can go over there for lunch right now if you'd like to. We don't ask any questions. You don't have to show any kind of credentials. We don't look at your ID. We just ask that you sign in because we need a meal count. So sign your name, Marilyn Monroe, don't care. We're not checking any IDs. We just want to count you that you ate. So come on in, have lunch every day, 365. Getting bonus day this year, 366. Thanks for your donations. We were able to provide an extra year. That was the joke. All right, anyway, well, my congregation looks at me on a Sunday like that. But anyway, there are no requirements, like I said, just come on in, enjoy the meal. In fact, if you'd like to, just come in. Maybe you provide services and you'd just like to come in and talk with our folks and see if there's something you can do for them. We have probably, what did you say, 15 to 20 regulars that they come in and sit there for an hour and they just chit chat. That's their fellowship hour for their day. That's their outing. And again, we know their names, they know us. They give birthday cards. It's amazing. It's kind of neat to watch. But anyway, come on down and you can hang out with our folks anytime. I think it might have run out of battery. That's okay, I'm loud. Daily services to the homeless and to individuals. We do another range of social services, but as we're only speaking about our homeless individuals right now, just to let you know that anybody who is homeless is able to come to our office during office hours, which is Monday through Thursday from 9 to 4 with a break for lunch where they can go and eat. During that time, if they are homeless, they can receive a bag of food that does not require any refrigeration or cooking, Pop-Tops, things like that, crackers, protein bars that our receptionist has put together for them, and they can do that once a week. They can also come in every 6 months and get a voucher to our thrift store to go get clothes for free. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? Now, we've brought John with us because he's the nuts and bolts, and so he knows way more than I do because he does this every night. He works very closely, one-on-one with all of our individuals and knows them personally by name. So if you have any questions, or if there's anything else you'd like to add?
I think that covered everything.
I hope so, because we went over this together yesterday. Anyway, so if you have any questions, either of us are available to answer those questions.
Do you accept volunteers in the kitchen over there?
In the kitchen, absolutely. Call and yeah, we'll get you set up. Absolutely. We serve 3 meals a day. 1 meal to the public at lunch, and then we serve 2 meals to our residents, breakfast and then dinner. So maybe on a larger scale, if you wanted to come help at lunchtime, that's fine. But if you felt like maybe you just want to get your feet wet, you can come at dinner and serve.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right. Thank you.
Okay, Michael, do you want to come and talk about hunger first? Yes.
Hello, everybody. I was told that I need to give 5 minutes, so that's all I'm going to give. I'm usually pretty long-winded. So here's a sample of what we do. Most of you guys knew about 20 years ago, a little over 20 years ago, my mother started a place called Hungry First. It's a clothes closet and food pantry. The reason why she started, she noticed there was a group of individuals that were being overlooked, not taken care of, et cetera, et cetera. But we also help with hot meals twice a week, Tuesday and Thursday, between 11:30 and 1:30. And as of late, and right now, we help with our homeless community. Now, with all of them, but we also help with the much darker side of our homeless community, those that have mental illness and those that are drug addicted. Our focus is there because we've heard the outcry over the last couple of years. We've seen the deficit with the facilities that we have here and the ability in order to help with those. And we've just, for lack of better words, I just put my foot in it and move forward with it. We have several programs in our community, such as our Christmas program, Thanksgiving program. That's because all year long with the funds that we receive back and the help that we receive, we want to give back to our community. There's other things that's too long to go over, but those are the two major things. Thanksgiving, we've been doing it annually for our homeless and those that don't have families. With our I Have Value program, that is with our homeless, we encourage them to volunteer at our facility. We work a program up with PetWorks, the animal shelter here in Kingsport, that we take them from there, bring them back. We also encourage them to go out in the community and look for jobs. It's not just, we don't just allow them to stay there and sit. But as you know, it's harder to get that side of the people to work. It's harder to get to encourage them to do that because they're going through so much. We're also, and have been for the last 4 years, working alongside with ETSU and their Human Services Department, Social Services Department. I have had a really good relationship with them thus far, and I am an honorary board member that sits on with them. Lastly, the mission statement that we've always had is to educate and empower our low-income, our homeless, and also our community in order to bridge the gap of the miss of our benevolence work. That is the thing when, I don't talk about this much and this will be the last of it, but when God calls everybody to do something, it is not for us to question why, it is just for us to do it. And quite honestly, at first when I did this thing, I stepped in because of my mother. In the last couple of years, and talking to a couple of pastors and a priest, this is my gig, man. And I didn't realize that until I stepped into it and accepted it. So that's why we worked so hard there's a difference between just giving, we understand that, and benevolence. There's a difference between enabling and helping. You know, and we work very hard to try to bridge that gap, which a lot of people think that a lot of people get the notion that charities become toxic, I guess, if you would. But you need to know the inside workings of those charities before you start pointing fingers and start saying that they're toxic. Guys, we are always in need of volunteers. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, we do our food pantry. Closed closet is always open Monday through Friday from 9 to 3. Hot meals is done on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11:30 to 1:30. We're very open to groceries if you want to also donate groceries. Men's clothes is what we need right now. If you have those available, all sizes, I promise you are welcome. Lastly, thank you guys for having me here, and thank you. You have a good day.
I know that you were trying to be rezoned, I believe. How's that effort going for right now?
It's actually proving fruitful. I mean, you know, we've had our application in, we paid the money, you know, and you know, I haven't received any backlash over it. I mean, I didn't think I would, but we're hopeful. You know, we're hopeful. And we've already started the sprinkler system. We've had guys come out there yesterday. Johnson Controls is going to head that up. So we're going to, you know, we're in compliance. Judge Rose has also dismissed the case Monday. That was when we were heard. So he dismissed that, you know, the citation, etc. And it's about the people.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
So Michael, when do people stay at Hunger First?
What's that, ma'am?
When do they stay? In other words, do you have a temperature issue?
No, we don't have a temperature issue.
Okay.
Honestly, because but we encourage, if it's like this today, we encourage people to leave, do something, you know. But the temperature, as far as especially as of late, there is no temperature. If you need a place to stay, if you're cold, you're hungry, I mean, that's just it. The other things, we're working those out. The other things, especially with spring on its way, you know, everything those of that nature, you know, with the weather, when it's raining, they can come in when it's raining, you know. It's just getting the people, when you're in that order on the darker side of things, it's getting them, because most of the times, honestly, I wish we had a detox center that was much closer, or that they couldn't sign themselves out, just to be quite honest with you, you know, because we find that a lot of them, they detox at our place.
I got a question for him. Is Creekside doing any detox or anything?
They do, but I mean, you can sign yourself out. We take them, what we do is we take them to the place in Johnson City. Right now it leaves me.
True Point?
Turning point.
What is it?
Turning point.
Turning Point. We actually work really close with Polly Jessen with Recovery Resources, and I apologize, I left that out. But we've had 5 people go, 2 successes out of those 5 so far. So.
Will, how about coming and telling us about Shades of Grace?
What is that?
I said, I called him by name. This is Reverend William Shewey.
I won't correct you. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. And I know that our meeting objective is to talk about sheltering for the homeless and how we can all work together for the most vulnerable of our society. Just to give you a little recap of what we do at Shades of Grace, we offer space 3 days a week to actually 2 days, 2 full days, Mondays and Thursdays. Probation and parole officers stay in our building across the street and meet with clients who have no transportation or otherwise not able to get to their respective places in Blumpville or whatever. And then we have a professional from Johnson City on Tuesdays who comes and deals exclusively with sex offenders who are on the registry and does whatever. It's a very confidential setting, so I don't even know who attends that meeting. I don't want to know, but we use our space for lots of things in the community to help the homeless as well as others. One thing we've done that's really been a blessing is taking care of the folks who die, who are unclaimed and unwanted. We've so far buried 24. We'll be having our spring, I call it funeral, burial sometime after Easter. And we have as many as 15 now that will be interred at this one time. So this will be by far our largest group. And we've been doing this for 3 years. So we pay for lots of cremations. And I was blessed. Lori is here somewhere. Lori's back there in the back by Steve. She is the United Methodist District financial person, but she handles all of our finances for the church. And from the day we began 5.5 years ago, she has written every check and taken care of all of our funding. But one thing that I was really surprised about and grateful for, this past year in 2019, we were able to give back to the immediate Kingsport community $116,000 from Shades of Grace, from a storefront church. And I just think that's amazing. And that has to do with housing, with electric bills, with rent, with cremations, with burials, tombstones, all that we do. But as far as staying open, we only open when it's 20 degrees or below. And we've only had open 2 or 3 nights for this whole season, thankfully. And we do not have any ID checks or anything because we know there are persons who cannot go, such as sex offenders and whatever. And so we don't ask any questions, and when we do open, it's to whosoever will. And then we're open every day from 9. Actually, we open at 10, but as long as our volunteers are there in the building working, then we'll go ahead and open the doors and have space available for them. And until 4 o'clock, at which time they'll be able to eat at Kitchen of Hope and then, or go back to Salvation Army. So we're trying to just fill in the gaps of some empty spaces. There's a whole lot more we do as far as purchasing photo IDs and birth certificates, which I've heard here today as well. But we don't want to repeat services that other people are doing, but if we can help in any way, then we want to do that. And so thank you for letting me share with you. I just give God the glory, and it's God who makes it all possible. Anybody have any questions or comments? We do breakfast every morning from 10 until 11. And then we do a meal on Sundays at 2:30, which is a community meal. And, you know, I guess there's some kind of miscommunication there because many of the persons who eat with us are not homeless. Sometimes it's a very minuscule percentage who are actually homeless. It's folks who live in the projects, who live alone. We call it a community meal. You can be a millionaire and come and eat with us, because just if you're lonely or want somewhere to be. So it is certainly not homelessness all the way, but we do, that is included in a part of the ministry. Anybody else? Yes.
You said you open like at 10 and close at 4.
Yeah.
During that time, are there services for people in the sense of
We
guidance, et cetera, or is it just a place to come?
Tuesday mornings we do a journey through grief for those who are going through losses of death or loss of relationship, job, income, whatever. Pastor Michelle leads that. And then on Wednesday mornings we do a community Bible study. We do higher education classes Tuesdays and Thursdays. We do a NAA, Narcotics Alcohol Anonymous meeting on Thursday evenings. What else do we do, Steve? Help me out.
VA comes by, VOA comes by,
Right.
a safe harbor home. All of these are facilities that'll help people get housing. Plus Pastor Michelle is there 4 days a week, and she can also help.
Right. And we have pastors. We just recently hired a new administrative assistant. Charlotte had retired after being with us for 2 years, and we have Jackie Carpenter. If you hear someone answer the phone now, he has worked at First Baptist for 12 years or so as a recovery minister, but he's now pastoring Morrison's Chapel United Methodist Church out from the Lynn Garden community and working full-time at Shades of Grace for us. And so he's a blessing and someone who has dealt with addictions and those kinds of things for a long time. So it's a blessing to have him on board with us.
Tell them about your budget, the fact that you don't have one.
Yeah, we don't have a budget. As the only United Methodist congregation I know about anywhere, we have never had a finance committee and never set a budget. And yet God provides for everything. When we started this 5.5 years ago, the Lord said, don't ever have a bake sale, don't ever have a yard sale, don't ever solicit funding, I will provide. And in the 5 years, we have exceeded $1 million in our income, and much of it goes, all of it goes right back out into the community. Freely we receive, freely we give. So God receives all the glory for that. We are United Methodist, but we do not have membership. We're not chartered as a regular congregation due to all the extenuating types of services we offer. But I'm an ordained United Methodist pastor, so we are a Methodist congregation. But anyway, that's beside the point. As my boss said, we all are Shades of Grace. We all are Salvation Army. We all are Oasis. We all are Hunger First. right? We're all of us together. Okay. Is that it? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just didn't really have questions, want to make a comment. I will say that I should have felt like this earlier. Hunger's First and Shades of Grace works with us great. I mean, we're always getting referrals done. Mike sends them up to us. I'm always talking with Pastor Michelle, so that just shows collaboration that our agencies can do together.
Yes, all together. Anybody else? Okay.
This is Shantell from Oasis is going to come and talk to us.
So the Oasis is a 501c3 women's ministry. Our primary demographic is women. Women of all ages, all walks of life. It does not matter where you come from, where you've been, where you're going in life. It is for all women. That being said, about 30% of the women that we serve are homeless. And we do provide a place for them to come and take showers and do their laundry. We provide all the detergents and things for them to do their laundry, everything for them to take a shower. And we do counseling, what we call resource counseling, and that's where we work with all of you all the different agencies in the community to provide services for those women. So what we're trying to do is advocate and bridge the gap and basically find housing, find resources such as jobs and things like that for these women. It's funny because yesterday, I'll tell you a short story, I promise it'll be short. I was sitting in my office and one of our women came in, and this lady is 63 years old and she has worked at McDonald's for 14 years. And she has a special needs son. I think we share a lot, our agencies share a lot of these women. And she was crying and upset and tore all to pieces and didn't know what she was going to do because they cut her hours at work. She's 63 years old and she says, where am I going to go to get a job from here? Now, a lot of times, these women who are in such situations as this are the ones who end up homeless and have nowhere to go. There are many different shades and colors to homelessness. There are many different stories. There are many different individuals that have their unique story to homelessness. And what I see with women a lot of times is that these women are trying to do on their own. We live in a world where it takes two incomes for most families to live, and these women are trying to raise children, and they're trying to support themselves, and many of them are failing because the system's set up for them to fail. I wrote a statement not too long ago. This lady had said that she had read it, but basically my thought in that was that the more money they make, the more their benefits are jerked, and the more their rent goes up. This is a system set up for women to fail. It is my job in this community to be an advocate for these women and bridge the gaps, and to find out a way that we can keep these women from becoming homeless. And a lot of what we do is homeless prevention. With our Perks program, women can come in and attend classes. We have a running relationship with Hope House and other agencies where they get points for each of those classes that they attend, and then they're able to redeem those points for items such as dish liquid, paper towels, toilet paper, trash bags, all kinds of different items that help supplement their income so that they don't become homeless. There are a lot of different agencies out there. We're working the spectrum. We're in the trenches. We're working, trying to keep people from being homeless. If they're on the edge of homelessness, like yesterday, a family come in and the lady was having trouble finding mental health care. I mean, she was struggling with bipolar, had moved into the area, been turned down for TennCare, has not been medicated, and was unable to get a job. She said, I've had to call in 2 days to work. I want to work, but I'm struggling and I don't know what to do to feed my family, and I've got to go to work. How do I get? So those are times that we have to bridge the gap and say, okay, we're going to call Frontier Health, we're going to get you a caseworker, we're going to do everything possible because you're trying to work and you're trying to take care of your kids and you're trying to take care of your family. So that's what we're doing as a group, as a community. That's why we bridge the gap and we communicate and we touch arms so that we can be an army that helps people in this community. And that's what we're here to do. And we're going to do that. I don't know how. I don't know how we're going to do that. But we're going to keep praying. And we're going to keep seeking God, and we're going to keep coming together, because that's the only way we're going to do it. You know, the scripture says, if I be lifted up, I'll draw all men unto me. And so I believe that with all my heart. If we lift him up, he's going to draw all men unto him, and we are going to be able to fix this. I don't know how we are. I don't have all the answers. I do know the scripture also tells us that the poor we will have with us always. I was one of them. I grew up like that. I stood in lines at the Salvation Army. I talk about that all the time. I love that government cheese and that peanut butter. I grew up on that bologna. I'm not ashamed of it. It got me through life, and it got me where I am today. And so I just think it's awesome that we're doing something. Even if we just meet and we talk about it, we're doing something. I know sometimes it's frustrating, but I'm proud to be here, and I'm proud to be part of it. Thank you so much.
Ernie, would you like to say a few words?
I'm Ernie Rumsby. I'm the president of Tri-Cities Military Affairs Council. We're a 501c3. We have an office at 555 East Main Street. We've been incorporated since 2012. We have a lawyer, we have an accountant, we have an 11-member board, and we are all volunteers. None of us get paid. Everything that we collect goes back in to assist the military and veteran community and their families in this region. We're the only ones who do this. No one else can match what we do in this region when it comes to veterans and military folks. This last year we spent $70,000 in direct aid. We have over 140 businesses that are supporters of TCMAC. We have over 300 members. We have a meeting every month. 11 months out of the year, we don't meet in December. We have some excellent community partners who give us money during the year. Now, what do we do with that money? We pay for caskets. We pay for funerals. We pay for light bills. We pay for rent. We pay for mortgages. And when we get folks, we usually get them when they have used up, for lack of a better term, used up all their benefits with another organization. Like if they go to VOA and they get helped, and something happens and they wind up going to jail, or they wind up getting evicted, they can't go back to VOA there's a waiting period. And a lot of times we'll get them, and we have to make a decision on what we're going to do. You know, whether we're going to pay to get someone back in off the street. We paid for countless hotel rooms. Now, there was some talk here about, enabling. When someone comes, I have a lot of questions for them. I want to know how they got into the predicament that they're in. And what is their plan to get out of that predicament that they're in? We're not a welfare agency. We were never, when we organized, that's not what we wanted to do. Usually we give people one bite at the apple. But when they come to us for that one bite of the apple, it's usually, $2,000 to $3,000, Sometimes that happens a couple times a week. Sometimes that may not happen. I can tell you that my phone rings constantly. My emails keep going constantly. My texts keep going constantly. And I'm tired and I'm old. and I want to retire, but they won't let me. We have an excellent reputation around the community. I can tell you that TCMAC is territorial. When we are starting to help a veteran, we want to finish what we're doing because we know what to do. And there's been some issues with some folks. And, you know, maybe their heart is in the right place, but it's best to stay in your lane. It makes things a lot easier. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, sir.
Do you serve just Kingsport or do you serve the whole Tri-Cities?
Kingsport, Johnson City, Bristol, Greene County, Southwest Virginia. We have partners in all those areas. What also makes us unique is, you know, chambers of commerce don't join organizations, but we have the 4 major chambers: Kingsport, Johnson City, Bristol, and the Greene County Partnership. They all joined us in the council because of what we do. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, what do you mean stay in your own lane? Like, you want to do something besides what everybody else is trying to do? I'm lost.
Well, when we get started on a case, and we're doing something with that case, a lot of times we want to finish what we've started because we know exactly what we're doing with a veteran. We've had that problem once before here. I don't think we'll have it again. I'll talk to you about it.
Okay. I'm not.
I know.
I'm kind of confused now. I thought we were all.
Let me ask you: Are you the lady that sells hot dogs?
Yes.
I do want to talk to you. 'Cause I want to go eat.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Do you deal with very many women?
Yes. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We have cameras in the office. We have surveillance cameras. Usually when I deal with females, I like to have someone else also in the office. Just, you know, it's the way I do, it's the way Ernie does business. But there has been a bit of an uptick with women. A lot of them are living in their cars. I mean, we have reservists, you know, who are in the Army Reserve who can't find a job outside of the reserve and are living in their cars. I mean, it's heartbreaking. It's very sad, and we do the best that we can. Anybody else? Don't look for me at the office. You got to call me because I'm a street guy. I grew up in Detroit, and I like concrete under my feet. So.
Kingsport is working to alleviate problems. We see many different angles that are being addressed. The Kingsport Homeless Ministry is attempting to fill the gaps where the services are not available. We are a 501c3. We are a nonprofit organization that is faith-based, and this is the way we want to remain. We are interested in providing housing for those that may be more difficult to house. We know that the 2 primary issues having to do with homelessness and how to meet their needs are to deal with mental health issues and substance abuse. We are trying to find the services that are available in our region that can help us meet those needs. We need the support of interested individuals in our community. Help us, stay with us. In other words, when we pull the group together, let's all try and participate in knowing what people are doing and how we might be able to help.
We have a difficult task ahead of us, but I believe with the people of this town, we're going to be able to do what we set out to do. and fill that gap for a low barrier facility to take the people that nobody else can or wants to.
I think somebody ought to mention Erin over there.
I was going to mention Erin, and she likes to remain, but everybody look at that way. The one at the table. Erin, and she didn't want to be recognized in the park either, so. But that's Erin, and she works for the city police department. And she's really been a tremendous blessing at the Shades of Grace.
Amen.
And we've seen miracles happening since she's been there, and we praise God for it.
She ought to come up to the front so we can all see them.
Come on, come on. Let me say this, Miss Jo is my hero. She's 103 years old, and when she says you need to come up here, you're not going to argue with her.
I'm Erin. My official title right now is homeless outreach worker. I am housed in the police department. I'm not a police officer. I do not have the ability to do law enforcement, so I'm not your girl. But right now, I mean, I've started this position on January 6th and working on building relationships with Pastor Will, Salvation Army, with Michael at Hunger First. I've known Shantell for a real long time, so really I just try to, get people to who can help them. I've called Ernie a few times and I need to talk to you, Ernie, so don't leave. So.
Nikki, you better go get your cart ready. And I wanted to mention, we're glad that Reverend Richard Dice is here at our community meeting. And how many years have you pastored Christ Church of Kingsport?
This is about 48 years.
48 years in the same congregation. All right, God bless you. Let's pray. Eternal God, God of grace and God of glory, on thy people pour thy power. Help us to go forth from this place empowered to do thy good will and to know how to go and when to go and how to speak and when not to speak and when to just simply follow and listen. Thank you for all these people today in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you everybody for coming.
The next steps going forward are we're seeing people working together, which is really great, but is getting our building. That's our next step, is getting the building that we need to go ahead and get this shelter up and running. It's a low barrier shelter, which we desperately need here in town, and that's the next step. So hopefully the next community meeting that we have, we'll be saying, here, this is our building, this is where Kingsport Homeless Ministry are going to do their work.